thanks, Tony. Obviously, very excited to get started. We've been doing a lot of talking through the last month, and we've been doing a lot of practicing. The players have worked really hard. The coaches have worked hard. Just like most camps, sometimes it feels extremely long, and then other times it feels like it goes by rather fast. But definitely excited to get in our normal game week preparation and getting together with our team this afternoon and introducing Ball. Obviously, we worked on Ball State last week. We will go through the official introduction just like a typical game week for us here today with our team. And we'll get started, and we know that we'll have to play our best. I mean, that's, you hear me talk often about it's about us and about what we look like, the improvements that we want to make, the improvements we want to make from last year to this year, the improvements through camp, and each day this week we want to improve to go out and play our very best on Saturday. Any of these MAC schools can jump up and beat anybody at any time. And this is one of those teams. Coach does a great job. He's got an NFL background. It's evident in the way they play. There is some carryover from going against our offense. You see a lot of the 12 personnel sets, but different looks out of that. You see pinch sets. You see a lot of the boots. You see zone schemes, gap schemes. A lot of good things. So it'll be really good prep for us. And defensively, a typical MAC team, one of those teams that are 4 down primarily, play extremely hard. They got 2 edge guys that made a lot of tackles, 2 inside backers that make an awful lot of tackles. I feel like they have a very talented free safety and very sound in what they do. They can get multiple and get creative on third downs with odd looks, but primarily 4 down and play extremely hard. So with that, I'll open it up.
Mark, what did you learn? I know it's a cliche question. What did you learn the most out of your team here in this fall camp? You talk about from day one to the end. What really impressed you with you guys?
We'll see. We'll see. I mean, I felt like there was some consistency. There's always going to be some good and some bad, but I feel like it's a good team with a good attitude and a mentality, and that needs to stay at a high level and be like that each week and each day.
Ben Chrisman isn't on the depth chart. He was expected to be a rotation. What's his status?
He's injured and out for the season.
Was there any update on Nick Hall too, or is he still going?
Injured now.
Mark, you lost a lot of leadership on both sides of the ball. That was one of your questions coming into the season. Have you seen some guys start to step up on both sides yet?
I have, and I think we'll continue to see that and take a look at that and see how it goes during game weeks. But I do feel like there's some guys ready to take charge.
We're seeing some of the guys on the depth chart and on the offensive line back to their comfortable positions. We've talked about it, but now that you're in the game week, excited to see them, how comfortable do you feel like they are in their spots and ready to improve on the O-line?
I feel like we're improved. I think that's, you've heard us talk about that. I've talked about it many times. We needed to improve. We had to address certain areas. We have. You're correct. I mean, you see some guys getting back to their more comfortable position. In particular, Kenneth, playing guard and the experience that he has there, and Eli playing back at guard. Jagger playing center. He's been solid, but he's got to get some game reps under his belt now. And our tackles need to improve over last year, and I think they will. We've talked a lot about Marcus. He's been very, very solid. And then Cortland and Jeremy, are battling at the right, and just need to see where that position goes. Both of them have a lot of talent. I think Jeremy has improved over a year ago, and certainly Cortland has that ability. We just need to see the consistency and see him dominate like I believe he can. We just got to take it into some games here and see how that goes.
Mark, we've heard a few people say Dylan Gray that he exceeded expectations from when he came in the summer. What have you seen from him as you look for depth, especially with Ben out there?
Yeah, Dylan's been good. He's a guy that has 3 years left. He's got length. We felt like it was a really good pickup as far as future, a tackle, and the ability there. But he's shown some versatility and being able to step in and play some guard for us. And he brings a toughness and a nastiness, and he has the size and the length, that he could grow into that too and get stronger through the years here.
Mark, what was it about Alex Rayner that led him with the kick and go?
Pardon me?
Alex Rayner, what did he show you with the kick and go?
He's been very, very solid. Yeah, very solid. The last time we kicked under some pressure the other day, he was 9 of 10. He missed the last one of, I want to say 55, and it had the length. But he's been very smooth, and it's been very consistent. So let's keep it that way.
Walker, short snapper, is that something you've ever done before? Or?
Yeah, Walker has been more consistent at the short snapping, and he's a guy that we feel very, very confident in. Ironically, his dad actually is the line coach for my brother Bob with the XFL. So, but coach's son. But he's been very consistent with the short snap, and it's been just smooth. It's been a smooth operation. And Ronnie comes in with some real good experience and some games under his belt with the long snaps, with the punts.
Coach, there's a couple guys that are listed behind Ray. How competitive is it behind him in that room, and
Yeah.
what do those guys bring it behind?
But Jatan we always look at as a starter and a guy that very reliable and has been a very solid player for us. We'd like to see that role increase a little bit for him this year. And Demi is a guy that's very versatile. He's a guy he's a good football player, and he's been very good at catching the ball. He's, like I said, he's versatile. Whether we move him around a little bit, we can play some two-back sets, and brings a little bit of physicality. So I like what I'm seeing there with him.
Obviously, you want to see him put up points, but is there anything you want to see from your offense specifically this weekend with so many new faces?
I mean, I think early in game one, you're just looking clean, and I know that's pretty broad-based right there, right? That could entail a lot. But taking care of the football first and foremost. I mean, we can't go into a game like this and turn the ball over and be sloppy with the football. So we have to protect the football and take care of that. You're looking for the operation, pre-snap penalties, anything like that. Just we're pretty, we're on it all the time with a play clock and trying to be smooth and getting things out. But, we are a pro style, but not trying to take up the whole play clock every play as well. Want to get a rhythm and get going and play with some tempo. And so, I think just the operation is really important for us.
Coach, in those defensive backs, you got a couple of new guys starting there, and then you've got Jalen coming backward. How do you feel about where that room stands today, entering into the season?
Yeah, I feel good. I feel good. I feel like Maxwell and Drew have gotten a lot of playing time over the years, and in our safety position, those guys have some experience. Really feel like you have three starters. With Jalen returning, and Zion and Jordan. Those guys got some good reps under their belt.
Mark, you've had some injuries the last couple of years with the interior linebacker spots. How comfortable are you with your backups?
I mean, I think it's a concern. I think it's a tough position. You're going to get beat up, playing middle linebacker in this many games in this league. That it's tough. Now, I do think with D-Jack and Trevin, they've got some strength, they've got some size and experience under their belt, and hopefully they'll stay healthy. But we're constantly working at depth behind them.
Tackling is typically a first game sort of, we'll see when we see. Are there
With so many people coming back, though, is there less anxiety building up to the season opener than normal?
I hope so. I mean, you'll hear me talk about it, and you have through the years, and probably after the game, one way or another, we'll talk about it. The tackling, a lot of it has to do with position on the football. If we're in the right spot, and you're not getting fooled, so to speak, and guys playing out of control and not where they need to be and not containing the football, not leveraging the football and letting guys run wild, then you'll see good, clean tackling. You may see a miss or two because it is early and it happens, and you play against other players that are talented, that make people miss. But overall, good structure, good defense, helps a lot on that.
This is your 11th season opener. Is it become routine yet, or is it still pretty exciting once this
No,
game begins?
yeah, it's always different. It really is. It's always an exciting time, and it definitely, it picks up. I mean, you get wander. You know what I mean? Like, I have a hard time sleeping anyway, but last night was definitely a little different. Knowing just this routine, getting back into the Monday press conference of the radio show tonight, just the prep, the messaging with the team, it feels good getting in the game week. It never feels routine, and each and every year it's a different challenge and different excitement level and different anxiety level, whatever you want to put on it. But it's time to go.
Mark, with Kai and Destin listed as co-number 2 on the depth chart, what is it that you're looking for one of those two to separate themselves and claim that spot?
We'll just continue to work with both guys. We have a lot of confidence in both of them. Both of them are doing some really good things.
You saw a MAC team come in here last year and give you guys trouble there with Northern Illinois. Do you set a wake-up call to your guys, like, hey, no slack in here, they got to be ready for anybody?
I think our team, we talk about it. They know that. They watch football. They always have to respect the game, and I think they know that. Now, getting them to always do it, that's part of the challenge each and every week. But it's game one, and we're at home, and we ought to be pretty excited to get up and get ready to play.
Jalen kind of worked on moving to free safety going into last year, won that job. What was the decision moving back to that strong spot?
He could play either or. I feel like really he could play either position fairly comfortable.
Mark, the Kentucky sports gambling stuff goes into effect next week. Do you have to talk to your guys any about just preparing them for that kind of stuff, maybe outside things they might face?
Absolutely, and already have. I think, we always talk about that, but I think it's just getting so common with the people with the phones and the apps, and just maybe people doing some things innocently, throughout the country. I'm talking about just stories you've seen, but we have to really educate them, and always have. I mean, going back to when I was a player, and Hayden Fry would always bring people in and talk to us and educate us on that, and we always have done that. But I think just with technology and the phone, and kids are so used to just doing so many things and being legal to place bets and prop bets and just all those things that let's hope we don't have any issues with it. And we have certainly talked to them about it in depth with people and professionals, and and them understanding the consequences that come with it. I don't know, but I just imagine throughout the country some of the things that have come up. A lot of them are probably just innocent, stupid, or silly little, bets, prop bets, and different things that they can do. They're used to doing a lot of things on their phones.
Mark, we're only 6 played the game last year. Y'all made a certain effort to increase that.
You never know how it's going to go, Lonnie. You really don't. We have, I've mentioned it before, have worked on things to shorten it, to not have to be so long, with verbiage and play calling and things of that nature. We are who we are, we're not going to change overnight. That doesn't mean you don't try to improve in certain areas, and that's an area where we could use some improvement at times to be able to pick up some tempo. So, yeah, that's one of the areas that we have worked on.
Did you get a chance to see any of the early games and how the new rules affected the game?
Yeah, not a ton. It didn't feel very different to me, but we'll see. I mean, we just got to work through it here.
Mark, you've talked about leadership and preparation. Has Devin been everything you hoped he would be when you reached out to him before?
Yeah, definitely. He's just he's a guy with good experience. He's a guy that has a good understanding of coming into a new team and a new role and a new locker room and earning those players' trust and belief in him and not trying to force his way or just talk about it, by his work ethic from day one. As I have talked about through this talking season, that things are different. They're different. They're different for the players too. It's an expedited process with team and team building and the team for this year. And so I think part of that makes it easier on players as well, getting acclimated to a new team because they're used to it. At least for us, again, I really feel like this is really year two where it's drastic change, and I say drastic for us. You know what I mean? It is, but for some people there's more turnover, but it is what it is. So I feel like players are acclimated to it and getting more acclimated to it. You have new guys in the locker room. They have to get to know each other. We do make an intentional effort to build those relationships and continue to do the things that we've always done with leadership training and things of that nature. But I feel good about Devin.
How much has Vince been lobbying for the exotic sets and multiple personnel with the guys he's got it?
Well, we've got some guys, that's for sure. I mean, you got a lot of oars on there because there are a lot of good players right there. They really are. Those are some good players that are multiple. That can play some different, line up in some different spots. And as you know, we'll put them out there and return them. We'll put them out there and play with them like you don't know. But some talented tight ends for sure. And they always get beat up. As I mention all the time, that's a physical position.
Mark, this doesn't look like, at least on paper, a year where you're going to need 6 or 7 freshmen to play right away like you did last year. Is that a sign of just the transfers you brought in, or are you planning to still bring some of those guys along early in the season?
Yeah, we will see. We'll see. I think certain areas we had to go out and get some proven depth and make sure we addressed certain areas, but I think there's some guys that could potentially still play as freshmen.
Mark, how do you feel about special teams right now?
As I mentioned a week ago or last time I was in here with you all, improved. We need to. That's pretty obvious, and we've got to continue to work. We've worked hard at it. We've worked really hard, whether it be the snapping that I mentioned. We have 2 different new snappers. We have a new kicker, and got Wilson back at full strength punting. It's been more consistent, and we've worked really hard at it. And I feel like it's improved, and I like the leadership that we have and the players and the commitment that we've shown. Now we got to go put it on film.
Mark, when Liam got here, he said he knows it's a different situation from when he first got here with no Wandale, no C-Rod, turnover in the O-line. He also said that, he's learned even more things in the NFL. Will fans be able to see differences in your offense? Do you think it'll look pretty much like it always has, or can you put your finger on it?
I think you'll be able to see some difference. We all change and evolve and grow weekly and yearly, certainly, in this profession. I mean, you have to. So there's, whether it's the way you're presenting plays, the way, you're setting it up, whatever, I mean, you have to grow. And so there'll be certain things that you will see that you've seen before, and there'll be some new things as well. And a lot of times there's changes that y'all would have no clue that there's changes. You know what I mean? So it's how we target things, where we're going, what we're doing. You know what I mean? So there's a lot to it.
Mark, what was your first impression of Marcus Cox when he got here this summer?
Always just been very impressed. Just a guy that kind of handles himself like a man. You know, just goes about his business, has a very good presence about him, a very good confidence. You know, I wouldn't say cocky, but like just he has a confidence about him that he can get it done. And I like the way he handles himself a lot.
Was he somebody who stood out on film when you were preparing for Northern Illinois last year and you played against him?
I was impressed when I played him.
Brandon White's a guy that I don't think a lot of us have been talking about, but he's on the depth chart. What has he done
Yeah.
to show you all something?
Yeah, B. White has done a really good job, and Anthony Brown. Both of them are guys that will play. Could see them on some special teams. We'll see. You know, we got some pretty good frontline guys, but they've been impressive as well. You know, with the return game, but they've done some good things, both of them at slot, and just I like their demeanor. And you know, Anthony Brown is really one of those guys that's, you know, he works at it. He picks things up very well. Can be very multiple. You know, experience beyond his years. And then B. White is a guy that, you know, he'll wow you once in a while on you know, a couple plays a game, practice or things like that, where he'll just jump out at you a little bit. So I'd like to continue to bring those two along.
How much do you, I know you want the special teams to be better, but you also want to keep Varion and Tavion healthy catching passes. So how much does that kind of weigh into the equation?
They're going to do that. I mean, you know, I'd like to have multiple guys, but they're going to do that. That's part of what they do. You know, with the punt returns, I mean, with the guys that we play against when we get, in particular in the meat of our season, you're not getting many opportunities to get punt returns. You know, kick returns, different story, but even then, you know, we play with some dudes that kick the ball. Yeah. Kick the crap out of the ball, you know, kick it high, and you know, makes it really hard on the punt return, some of it, and the same really with kickoffs, you know. But you know, when you get those opportunities, you got to try to make something happen. Varion did it a year ago, and so it's just how many opportunities you're really going to get.
Mark, I would anticipate that opponents would commit a lot of manpower to blocking Deion Walker.
Mm-hmm.
You talk to him just about kind of the mindset of having to deal with.
No, I don't talk to him about that. No, just let him play.
Mark, you've talked to us through the years about why you hired Brad and you know, some of the things he's brought to the program. And as he's evolved, as a former D coordinator yourself, why is he so good at his job?
Well, a lot of reasons he's good at his job. He's very intelligent, number one, but there has to be a relationship. There has to be a connection with the coordinator and the offense or the defense. And Brad has a good connection with the players. And you know, you have to be talented in your scheme. You have to know what you're doing, because you see so many different things. We've talked about it a lot, but you know, college football, I mean, there's a lot of different things you're going to see, and a little more liberal with some rules, you know, as compared to the NFL, and you know, and just unbalanced set and the creativities. You can't do that in the NFL, you know, and so there's a lot to it, and so I think the knowledge is there. I think a little bit unique about Brad is he always was good, and I hired him early for his experience with outside linebackers in the front, but he has extremely good knowledge of the secondary for a front guy, so to speak. so that, it's really important to be able to have a handle on all 11, and understand all of it. And he certainly has that, and has enough to change up. He also has a good balance of what we can execute. It's not so much always about what we know. We could create all kind of things, and there's a lot of knowledge in that room. But what can the players execute, and how can we play at a high level? I think there's always a balance in that, and that's a challenge week to week, year to year. And so, those are things that he's had a good pulse on. But he does, again, he does a good job. He has really good intelligence. He knows what he's doing with the entire defense, and he really has strong relationships with the players and gets a lot out of them, and that's the key to it, really.